I don't know, I was kind of wondering the same thing of,
Call this meeting to order. This is the regular board meeting at Town of East Troy, October 9th at 6:30 PM. Roll call, Clarkowski here.
Wales here.
Reyes here.
Church here.
Booker here.
Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Give are all postings in order for tonight's meeting.
Yes, they are.
Okay, approval of the agenda. I don't know if there's anything anybody wanted to remove. I didn't hear anything at all. If not, we'll need a motion to approve the agenda as posted.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as posted.
Second.
We have a motion, second discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none, motion carries. All right, and we have some meeting minutes for approval. The first one is the regular board meeting from September 11th. And the only thing I see on that one was on the last page where it talks about budget workshop 2. They had listed October 14th. Was at the time of that meeting, is that the date we had?
No, that's that finger.
That should be
17th.
17th.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's all I had on that one. Anybody have anything else?
What was
What
your,
was the change?
The change on the special and pending meetings on the last page, the budget workshop 2 was shown on here as October 14th, it's the 17th. That was
The
the
only,
And the time has changed, hasn't
But
it?
it not as the
Since
meeting.
yeah,
Right.
Right, so we put it as of the meeting.
after that,
17th.
changed. It's on
3:30.
today's.
Okay, Michelle?
The only question I had was on the police report, I didn't recall, like, the second bullet, it says the average speed on St. Peter's Road was monitored. And then the last bullet, it said the speed sign was going to St. Peter's Road. Was that just a second location, or did we?
No, it was most recently on J.
On Highway J.
It just says that the speed sign is now on St. Peter's Road. That's what it says. So it was monitored through the 21st of August, this meeting.
Yeah. I'll double check my notes, Michelle, but obviously it was made, a change was made, and I just probably did that.
And I, like I said, I didn't recall what it was, but it just
I don't have those notes in here, so.
seemed strange
Yeah.
that they were putting it back where it was.
Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. It's going,
Yep.
it sounds like it's going back there.
Right,
Okay. All right, anything else?
not for me.
Nope.
No. I'll make a motion that we approve the official Town of East Troy board meeting minutes for Monday, September 11th, 2023 as amended.
second.
All right, we have motion, second by Chad. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Then we have a special board meeting on September 18th. I didn't make any marks,
I had none.
No.
nothing.
Nothing.
All right, motion.
Make a motion for, approve the official town board meeting minutes for special meeting Monday, September 18th.
Oh, second.
All right, motion second, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Then we have the plan commission meeting minutes from September 20th.
I'll make a motion to approve the planning commission minutes from September 20th.
Can we have discussion or ask?
There will be,
Will be.
after
Okay.
motion. All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Barb second. Okay, discussion.
I just didn't know in point number 1, approval of minutes, it said minutes from September 6th were discussed and edits were suggested. So then was the motion made to approve the minutes as amended? Or was it just?
I think it was just a
Discussion?
suggestion.
I don't recall.
don't know.
The
I
changes.
watched that video and I think they were just suggested. I don't
Okay.
think it was amended.
Okay, yep, that was the only question.
All right, anybody else? Okay, if not, on the motion to approve the planning commission meeting minutes from September 20th, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Okay, Treasurer's report.
Treasurer's report for September 2023. Total receipts were $13,039.41. Transfers were $481,000. Interest earned was $284.14. Balance as of August 31st was $24,148.38. Total funds for September were $518,471.93. Checks paid in December were $515,164.06, leaving a remaining balance in the general checking of $3,307.87.
Okay. Any questions on the treasurer's report?
No.
Hearing none, motion to approve.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Town of East Troy Treasurer's Report for the month of September as presented.
I'll second.
All right, we have motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. And then Kim also had a report in the packet. Any questions on the 21 bullets from Kim?
I have one question. Could you tell me what the number one question was that, in regards to open book and, board review?
How much are my taxes going to go up? And they're not, because when the value goes up, the taxing rate, the mill rate goes down. It's only when budgets are increased that taxes go up.
That was the number one question I got with phone calls to me, so.
But the letter was very well written, and I
It
had
was.
feedback from residents that thank goodness for that letter, because if you would read it, it explained a lot. And it showed how if you're, it said the average increase in value was, I don't remember, for 60%.
But not everybody reads.
Right, and that's what they said, that you should tell people just to read the letter, because
Yeah.
it was really well written.
I made mention of that at the LBPIA meeting a couple weeks ago, because most of the questions that have been asked were really answered by that letter. So that's what that's the whole idea of it. So that was a good thing. So, all right. All right, no other questions on Kim's report?
I was gonna ask about bullet number 19 in the annexation review, but I guess we'll talk about that later in the agenda.
Well, there was a questionnaire that Kim has to fill out as part of that annexation request, and that's required by law.
Yep.
So that's been done, submitted, so, okay. All right, nothing else?
Thank you.
Okay, public comments period. Lost it already.
Is it down a desk?
Someone stole it. Use count out loud.
She could do a timer on her phone.
Yeah, it's just there.
4 minutes?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Magnetic.
Nobody panic.
All right, public comments. Anyone have any? John, come on. All right, in 4 minutes is the new time. And I will not start till you start talking.
On September 18th, you guys had a special meeting and it wasn't recorded or broadcasted. Is there any way we can find out what it wasn't a closed meeting, it was just a special meeting, correct?
Part of it was closed.
Yeah, half was open, half was closed. Was this, okay, this was not in the package because it's not approved yet, right? Oh, it's approved?
Those minutes, you just approved them. Yeah, they were
They
in the
were
packet and you just approved them. Yeah.
Okay, can we just briefly say what the open part was about?
The
The
open
bridge.
part was about the bridge
Yeah.
and the sales agreement to make sure the board was comfortable with the language on, basically it is, we own the bridge. As of today, we own the bridge, okay? But there's a commitment that the railroad made to basically pay for half the expenses until we have a new bridge. That's
Okay.
what it comes out to.
All right, and I got another question. Was the inspections ever done on the Gold
Yeah.
Island Bridge and the Stringers Bridge Road Bridge?
Oh, yes, I
And-
have not, I've seen them. Todd, you seen them too, right?
Yeah.
There's some minor recommendations on there. Our biggest issue on those two are the stone head walls. And he did look at those missing bolts and said, just patch them so no material can come through, so I don't know when.
What about the rust spots,
The what spots?
the heavy rust spots? And
Oh, they didn't have a concern with
they
it.
didn't?
No, they
So-
did call it out though.
We're not going to be doing anything as far as Goat Island Bridge or Stringers Road Bridge, nothing?
Stringers Road Bridge, I don't think there's anything. But the one, the Goat Island or the Beulah Heights Road, there's some stonework that has to be done. And eventually replaced, the whole works,
Okay.
eventually.
Is the one on Stringers Bridge earmarked to be replaced or not really?
Not at this time, no.
Okay,
No.
that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Other comments, anyone? We have four possibilities. You don't want to speak? Okay, public comments period is done. And I'm gonna put this where I can see it. So it doesn't hide in the back of the desk. Okay, reports of committees. My report on September 19th at a Tri-Troy meeting. We invited 2 members of the school board to come. And our main focus there was to see, is there going to be another referendum? Because that may play into what has to happen at the fire district. We were told by the board members that a referendum is not imminent. And if there is one, it's several years away. So that's probably good news. On the 21st of September, I met with the village of East Troy to select a consultant for the trail application, and Strand was selected. And matter of fact, they are putting together a plan right now with an application for a study to see, because last time we were told that can't jump in both feet. Let's do the study part first. That's exactly what we're doing. And they'll have a impact to the town of maybe $2,600 or so. It's split 3-way, Village of McGuanago, Village of East Troy, and Town of East Troy. Same day, we had the Tri-County meeting, Town Association in Waterford. Had a very good meeting. I think we had somewhere in the area of 40-some people. And then on the 23rd of September, I attended the 9/23/23, or the LBI meeting at the firehouse on the 23rd. And I'm usually asked there at usually the spring and summer meeting to give a report on what's going on with the town. That's what I did. And that's where I did state to the people who had the questions about the revale, about reading the letter that came with it. So that's all I had for meetings. Got many more coming up at the county, at the Village of McGuanago, all having to do with shared services and cooperation between us. Okay, and then the media IT report is included in the packet. And I guess the big thing there is that basically says the YouTube feed continues to be successful. They did have one audio setback though on the September 20th Planning Commission meeting, but they appeared to have resolved that. And they asked people about the newsletter, whether they want to go paperless, and there have been some that saying yes, they'd like to see paperless. So I think we can accommodate them. I don't know if that's an issue with mailing or not.
That was planned to be able to have people sign up to
Okay,
get an electronic copy instead of paper.
so when it comes time to mail them out, you'd have to pull those out. Is that an
Where are you gonna
issue?
pull out as they're coming in?
Okay, so you do that here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so no problem.
We did everything in-house.
Okay,
We printed it in-house. too.
Printed in-house, it was cheaper,
Mail.
significantly cheaper.
okay. And then the last thing was a request for a 55-inch or larger smart TV out in the hallway. You notice one of the meetings we had here a month or two back, we had a bunch of people in the hallway.
Yep.
And they really couldn't hear or see what was going on. Well, they could do that if we did it. So we'll discuss that at our budget meeting, which is probably tomorrow.
Is that existing TV not smart?
It's not ours,
Not that one?
that's like the county's TV.
Yeah, there might be a way to incorporate the two. In other words, replace it, but the thing is that's kind of a standalone feed on it. So we can look at it though. But
What about
And
moving
it's-
that one to the courtroom? I don't know what size Jen would need for the
That
courtroom,
was
but she
also,
said,
A future goal list.
Something for
Yeah.
down the road, maybe,
Yeah.
if we do get larger meetings.
The thing with the hallway though is it's narrow. Where are
right,
you gonna put the TV and connect it and get, yeah.
It almost be
Lot of
better to
issues.
just put it in the courtroom, period, and if
Oh.
someone wants to have.
Oh,
it
I see.
And
Yeah.
have overflow up there.
Instead of in the hallway with
oh,
it.
that might be a great idea to take away the noise in the hallway as well.
Yeah.
And there's seating up there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is. Okay, all right, so that's a report from Jen. And then there's, the next one is Department of Public Works. Cut. Update on police garage.
Everybody got a copy of my little report. There wasn't a whole lot because there was a whole lot of phone calls through the month of September.
Well, it looks like a whole lot, just a really big whole lot.
Yeah,
Few things with a lot.
yeah, a lot to get. The final state approval for the plans for the garage. Had a couple hoops we had to jump through there, but that is now officially through the state. Construction will start next week for excavating, so. John.
That won't impact the asphalt that we just put in.
Yep. Yeah, that's, we were trying to get the concrete in, so all the elevations and everything were good. So we had no water running in, but Friday with the rain that we had, the rain comes around, makes a 90, goes all the way out the driveway.
Do you
But their
anticipate 2
equipment-
months lost in time then? So instead of mid-March, mid-May?
It'll probably be May.
asphalt looks great, and I love the buildup on the ramp over here where you took the guardrail down,
The handrail, yeah.
so
It's the
that,
only thing I gotta check yet, if ADA, if we are required to have the handrail yet. I'm not quite sure on that.
We do
We gotta put
not,
it back up.
we do
We
have,
we added one in the front. I don't know if everybody
I
noticed
saw
that.
that, thank you.
I think there might be a little waylay with that getting coated this Friday with rain coming. But I have, it's not the official plans, but this is what the architect sent us. I'll put it out here. It's Gene blew it up so you can actually read it.
Okay.
But yeah, John Tanis called me this afternoon and said excavating will start next week.
But you're saying that equipment to do the excavating won't ruin the
No,
asphalt? 'cause
all
we were-
coming in off the park.
I was gonna say, is it able to come into the
Yeah.
backside?
As far as concrete and all that, they got a concrete pumper that can pump 220 feet, so
Mhm.
very minimal will be
I
coming
knew
across.
you were
New
trying to
Blacktop.
plan the other way around.
Trying to, but
yeah,
Not a
paving,
plan B.
paving's running out of time and
Right.
they were jumping at me because this was the last bit of our road work.
Yeah.
Stewart School Road here, and
Looks great.
that all seems to be done. They striped it right away. The guys are great on that. We added a little bit out on the triangle where you always had water and everything sitting. They painted a fog line out there. Hopefully delineate the edge of the road. And
okay,
everybody seems to be happy.
looks good.
Really nice.
Yeah, and I did go look at the Bell School, repair.
Yep.
And I thought for a repair, it's about as good as you're gonna possibly get.
I actually talked to Bob Cordes today. He was going to work on the letter sometime this week.
Because we want a 1-year warranty.
It wasn't pretty good. They did it though.
No, not the first time. It was a totally different group, totally different way he did it with infrared this time.
So,
So
Okay.
it looks like it, you can't hardly feel an edge on it. This winter will tell with the scrapers and plows going over it. How it's gonna hold up depending upon how
yeah,
winter goes.
yep, winter's tough on everything, so. All right, any questions for Todd on his report?
Thanks for keeping us updated.
Thanks
Trying
for helping in the park. Although we had some disappointment there, but yeah, Todd helped out with putting out decorations and marking the lines and everything in the park. So appreciate that with this team.
Thanks.
All right, thank you very much. All right, police report, I believe we have a substitute for the chief. Chief number 2.
Yeah, chief was sick this afternoon, so let's take care
Okay.
of it. That whole report looks like about 733 calls a month, bringing total to 6,725. We did have a few boat shifts at the beginning of September. It's like there's one citation, a couple warnings written on the boat for those 3 days that were out there. And then the last thing was the pier permit that he
Okay.
received. Said he took a look at it. He didn't see any issues with it.
Okay.
Just wanted to double
And
check.
I reviewed it too. The only question I had got resolved. The initial sketch did not show an offset to the repairing line. Since this is a expansion of what was there before, they have to follow the pier planner and our ordinance. And that required a 12-foot offset from the repairing line. And they show that. Now I have one sketch that's different than that's in the packet.
Well, the one in the packet shows the riparian line, and I was gonna compliment
Yeah.
Mr. Borden. It was one of the first pier permits that I understood.
Okay, so this
Thank you.
sketch should be in the approval or in the file when we put it.
It is.
It's in there?
Yep.
Okay, so the one I have is. the
Talking
one.
Talking this one with the 12-foot and the.
Oh, yeah,
this
okay.
one Here, this was in our packet.
Yep.
There's
Okay.
two of them though. There's another one without the numbers.
Right, I just left the packet in tab.
Okay, all right, now, you'll notice that his neighbor's got his
That's my question.
here and lift in there. That's between them two to work out. Obviously, he's gonna have to move it because his neighbor is in the riparian zone, and of course, that's a violation, and it wasn't really known until this happened now. So that's between the two neighbors to work that out. If a complaint comes up, it will come to the police department saying, hey, what about that? And we got just told, hey, move it into your own zone. He's got plenty of frontage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my recommendation is to approve this pier permit.
The only question I had was the length here.
Oh, the length to get to, well, the pier planner says get to 3 feet of water.
Right.
It's not, this doesn't show that. This is more of fitting boat lifts in there. That's kind of a weird anomaly we have in our ordinance, so that could be a question, because our ordinance calls out 28 feet. Regulations. 50 feet for a number of moorings, 3 feet of depth. The 50 feet we know about, there's 2 moorings here, because the first doesn't reach the second 50 feet. And then the extension. Let's see, I thought I had it marked here. Platform. I'm not gonna find it. 20 feet from shore.
Doesn't the pier planner say 36 or whatever is required to reach 3 feet?
Whatever is required to float the boat, right?
Float the boat, yeah. Maximum width, 6 feet, we don't have
That's
that.
fine.
Pier length. Pier may extend into water as far as A, B, or C, where it talks about whichever is further from shore.
Yeah.
3 foot is the one depth. But the pier head line or the length would be our ordinance. So I don't see it in the pier plan other than to get to 3 feet of water. And I was looking at this, let's see. Boat shelters, which may contain a boat lift or hoist, are exempt from permitting if they meet the standard in our 326. For example, size is limited to 12 feet wide by 24 feet long on waters under 1,000 acres. That's 24 feet that I see on this.
Mm-hmm.
On our ordinance, which mostly mimics that. foot regulations. Talks about following the pier planner. Mooring rafts and closing. Number of boat slips should not exceed 2 for the first 50. Blah. Most for 20 foot, no worries. Okay, the only reference I see here, well, is the 3 foot of water.
But does it matter with what was existing there? Because I do believe that pier probably was about that length. The original pier,
That's what the chief said also. is that
I believe it was
same
about
length as what
the
was
same
there.
length and it was registered already. I mean, that would, I would assume that would make a difference with it, or does it not? Because it's a change, everything changes?
Yeah, I thought the old one had our property to make reference to 24 feet. That could be a technical question.
It used to be right there.
In other
That
words,
pier was pretty long.
in other words, the length,
If that's the length that's
27.
required to get 3 feet of depth, it's fine, but I don't know that.
Because we don't have a depth shown on our application.
And is it 3 feet?
3 feet of water.
Well, what do you mean? Because I can step into a foot of water and sink down 4 feet into the muck. So where do you get? Well, and I'm just asking because
Three
where's
foot-
3 foot? Start at top of the weeds, at the top of the
Top of
Silt?
the top of the lake bottom. So if
top
it's
of the-
silt,
top of the silt or the
right. If it's sand and gravel, well, then it's top of that. But I do believe, from what I see here, you have two options here. That one is to get a verification of that water depth, okay? Because if it refers back to the pier planner, our ordinance talks about the 3 foot of water, right? Doesn't have,
Well, as does the pier planner, I believe.
yes, but the pier planner also gave an example of, the length.
40 feet. It says 40 feet. Isn't that fine? I thought it,
I thought it was 30, 36 for some
50.
reason.
27 feet is what's shown on the L sections, on the
yeah, but
extension.
40 foot.
40 from the shore.
Shoreline,
Yes, yes.
that's in the drawing.
Provide, install 4 foot wide by 40 foot long pier, 10 foot from pier, install 2 11 foot wide by 27 foot long boat slips, bordered by 3 walkways.
And that 3 feet is to the end of your pier, or is it to the backside of
The
your
end of the
boat?
pier, the end of the,
Almost every pier on this lake is more than 3 feet at the end of it. I mean, just saying.
And it can
You
be
can
as long
dive-
as the pier is not
You can-
over the maximum length allowed.
Length.
Yes.
right. So, get the depth of water verified here, or reasonable compliance.
I'm pretty sure that pier was about, if it wasn't that long, it was about that long originally, because I used to be right over in that area years ago.
Yeah, there's low to the point where it adequate depth mooring a boat using
It was
a,
all.
using
all
whichever is
almost
further
40.
from shore. Yeah, I don't see it in ours. It talks about the 3 foot, that's the planner talks about the 3 foot. But there was, it says the pier head line, if established by local ordinance, and we do not. But they do mention under boat lifts, hoists, and shelters, that's what they mentioned as example,
Right.
but that's not a requirement, that's an example. For example, well, it says size limited to 12 foot wide by 24
Right.
feet long on waters under 1,000 acres and 14 by 24.
I always thought it was 36,
So, I never see.
which is the reason why I questioned the 40.
Okay. So, I don't really see a problem with it, but I guess it's up to us to decide as a whole if this is conformance.
I mean, I like the fact that he has his riparian line. That's always a big one. I think that I believe that pier was almost that long originally. From what I can remember, I mean, I don't see anything wrong with it.
I don't know that we've ever asked for the water depth.
Oh, I don't think it matters, because when you look at the one, revision number 2 dated July 5th. Oh, there is the shoreline there, okay. But if you add up the lengths there, 17,
37 and
30.
40 foot. It's 40 foot. from
well,
shore.
part of the pier is on the
On land,
shore, so you
yeah.
can subtract that.
So it's up to be under 40.
I think the board would be safe if they view this to say, 4 feet of the pier is on the shore.
Well, a couple feet anyway. Yeah.
He would meet the limitation that I recall.
Susan, need a motion to approve this? Is that what you're asking?
Yes, we-
I'll make a motion to approve red changes for Larry Bourbon at W1786 South Shore Drive.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Just one
Further-
point for discussion.
Please.
If we approve the configuration for the revised pier, are we not, and we know the problem with the neighbor's pier or boat lift in the riparian zone?
Mhm.
Is that a good idea on our part? You
Well,
said the neighbors are talking to each other.
Well, he said it's their issue to resolve.
We can't deny a riparian owner the rightful placement of their pier
Yes?
just because the neighbor's pier,
It's wrong.
Wrong.
right.
I'm just aware here that there is a conflict.
There is.
And
And I'm glad he showed it, because that will take away a little bit of the argument that could occur between the neighbors. But again, that's between them. I would take it, they're all gonna be, that will be out of the water soon if it's not already, But that one will have to be moved, but it's not ours unless a complaint comes into the police department from Larry Bruin saying, hey, my neighbor has got his pier in my riparian zone. Of course, that's state law. That you're gonna have to even use the pier plan or our ordinance. You cannot infringe on your neighbor's riparian
I think
zone.
it's even in our ordinance possibly.
It does mention that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
They're both pretty reasonable people. I don't foresee it going to the police department, but I could be.
I think, Todd, you meant one of them, the guy with the house, right? This is that big property that's at frontage on both sides of that peninsula. All right, any further discussion? Okay, and a motion to approve the pier permit for Larry Bourbon. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, anything else?
Michelle.
Mr.
Nope, that was
Rooney?
all.
We're all good. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Okay, ETAESD, East Troy Area Emergency Service District Report. Supervisor.
I attached my report and I attached the report from the chief. Are there any questions?
motion to approve.
No.
We don't need a
We
motion.
Need to.
I had one question on the chief's report. When he talked about possibly selling the rescue truck 1760.
Yeah.
But then a
Okay.
little bit later in the paragraph, it talked about doing an interjurisdictional transfer.
There are two things being discussed. We have placed rescue truck 1760 on the Wisconsin surplus site to be sold. And the second thing we did was, we gave our Cascade system, which is the system that fills air bottles, and that used to be on the back of rescue truck 1760. We approved giving that to the town of Troy to use on their apparatus. We have not, did not want to maintain or continue to insure it. It benefited them, and we still have the ability to say, we need to use it, perhaps can we go up there? So
How much are they selling the truck for? Is this the pickup?
It's a utility truck. I think it's bigger than a pickup.
Oh, it's 1760. Okay.
Yeah. Hang on a second, I'll tell you what we're selling it for. We are listed it on Wisconsin Surplus at a starting price of $10,000, which is a little bit higher than what others are going for, but it gives us wiggle room to negotiate with somebody who might be interested.
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions from Supervisor Church? Okay, thank you very much. Park Committee report, Supervisor Reyes.
Yeah, so we had the first Friday night trick or treat at the park here at Jim Burns Park with the railroad. It stopped raining just in time, so it worked out that way. Again, thanks to Todd and his crew for helping with the setup. It was a great event. We took some pictures, sent them to Jen to put out. And the kids all had a good time. They were in costume. There were 8 different game stations. Still looking for volunteers for the next 3 Fridays. It's really just like manning one of the game stations and giving the kids candy. They were all well behaved. It was fun. Everyone was very appreciative. The parents all said thank you. We did also hand out like some coloring and activity sheets to the kids that just talked about the town park on the top and gave a phone number and let them know that there's soccer fields in the pavilion and stuff like that, and the phone number. So it went well. A little vandalism at the park beforehand. Some kids, unfortunately, the very first day we put up some of the lights, that was unfortunate. So, but yeah, it went well, and I think it's a fun event for the kids.
Anything else on the park?
Not for tonight.
All right, thank you very much. Booth Lake Memorial Park report, Supervisor Wales.
Yeah, sadly, the season's came to an end. We have a couple, I think 2 more events in October, and then we'll be closed up. But the piers are out already. The rafts, they were already on top of those, and now it's endless battle of leaves. Now that it's fall, but it was a great season, and we also have our Halloween. That's
Halloween event.
Halloween event, but that's this
The
Saturday, the
21st.
21st.
Saturday the 21st. That's what it is.
That's next
Um,
Saturday.
Looks very fun.
Yeah, for the kids and games and food, and it should be a good time. And other than that, we would like some cold weather for the ice rinks for this winter would be good.
Yeah,
But that's about it.
get a real winter.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Lake Beulah Management District report, Greg Thomas.
We don't have a report this time. Our next meeting is on Halloween, 10/31.
In costume.
Commissioners will all come in costume.
Cool. All right, thank you. Recycling Committee report, John, anything?
Yes, so the recycling committee met 19 September 2023 at 10 a.m. As posted, Kim Buchanan, John Murphy present. The meeting was for the purpose of completing and submitting the 2024 recycling grants to responsible units application form. This was accomplished, the meeting was adjourned. And second thing would be the e-cycling event on 7 October resulted in a full dumpster.
They still bring out the big one, the standard size. That's quite a bit of stuff.
We actually downsized from the 40 yard to the 30 yard.
Okay.
There's still room, but it was pretty full.
Thanks for doing that, because I always find something to donate to the trailer. Get that out of my garage.
Anything else on recycling, John?
No, that's all for recycling.
Okay. Anything in the library?
Yes, this is library board meeting of 12 September 2023. And the first item is the Prairie Lakes Library System. And several years ago, a flaw was discovered in the distribution of Walworth County Library funds. Lakeshore Library System paid the underfunded libraries from their reserves. In following years, 2% of the Walworth County librarians' county funding was returned to those reserves. The Prairie Lakes Library System Board has voted to discontinue this practice. Second item, Nancy O'Connell, the children's librarian, passed away on September 18th. She dedicated 38 years to the library and to the families of East Troy. She will be missed. Thank you to the East Troy Town Board for their representation at Nancy's funeral. That completes that.
All right, thank you very much, and thank Christine.
I have one addition. While attending Nancy O'Connell's funeral, Nancy Pollard, who has worked at the library many years with Nancy, said that, asked that if the Tri-Troy area were to ever open a new library, that she recommended it be named after Nancy O'Connell.
Okay, all right. I think that impetus of that would probably start with the library board.
Yeah.
Okay,
But that came from Nancy Pollard.
okay. All right, thank you very much. All right, planning commission report, Supervisor Rooker.
This evening, there are 4 items for your consideration. I'd like to note that this was the only meeting of all our meetings that I missed, but I did speak with the secretary and view the video, and I think I can do the necessary job. I also like to note that most of these items are fine tuning the requests from the county zoning administration. In general, I find that the applicants and owners do what they need to do it promptly, pay their fees. But this one's more administrative in nature. So the first is a variance request at North 9547 Horseshoe Lane by the owners, Joe and Amy Broadsky. I believe that is the correct spelling, although I've seen the names spelled 3 different ways in the papers that are coming to me. And the applicant is the builder, general contractor, Randy Thielen. There was a unanimous consent by the Planning Commission on October 4th to seek a motion, which I am making, that the town board of East Troy would approve a variance at North 9547 Horseshoe Lane, Mukwonago, Wisconsin, parcel number PWP00005.
Second.
The minutia here is going to be,
Oh, I thought you were done.
is in the details. So what happened here, and I'll get to the variance elements as presented by the builder, but what happened here is the property owners purchased the land and they have a current building permit which is approved. They then sought to revise their building plan, and in the interim, the county has made a determination that they cannot do what they want to do in their revised plan. And I'll go into a little more detail to that if you're concerned with that. So the applicant and the owner are willing to build the larger structure, but what they wanted to do with their revised building plan was to actually decrease space, roofing, as well as enclosures in order to create a open air patio with a retaining wall. Again, the building permit is approved. Their hardship is in terms of the county and its interpretation as it applies to the high water mark and the allowance to whether or not they can build this retaining wall as well as patio as their revised plan so determines. the hardship as they define it is the interpretation by the county and the DNR. It has to do with downgrading. In other words, they wanted to downgrade from a structure to a deck or a patio, and this downgrade was always part of the past approval process. But the Brodskis are saying that in March of 2023, the DNR and the county changed its interpretation about downgrading, and now they are insisting, without any time delay, that any structure must replace a like structure. In other words, a house must replace a house, a deck must replace a deck, or a patio must replace a patio, and no allowance for downgrading in use. So, like, as I said, they're willing to build the house that they originally proposed. The downgraded property is smaller, less blockage to neighbors in terms of their ability to look to their right or to their left. Their hardship also involves elderly members of the family, and the difficulty now in having to create stairwells and railings in order to go down to if they have to create this deck that is patio that is not attached to the house. There was no one who spoke against, and they actually believe that the revised housing plan that they are proposing is of benefit to the public because it is not as tall as it could be, it is not as large as it could be, and it allows for better sights by the neighbors.
Did Barb, you second?
Yeah, I'll second.
All right, motion second. Further discussion?
The only thing that strikes me as odd is citing the fact that they got unfavorable recommendations from the county and the DNR as their hardship. I've not heard of that before. That's like saying the hardship is the law doesn't require me to do it or doesn't allow me to do it.
Well, I guess their point is, in a short period of time between the purchase of their land and the county and the town approving their building plan, they relooked at their space, and they were afforded no time. There was no, well, in the next 6 months, in the next year, we're going to hereafter enforce this. I agree with you in terms of.
How is the rezone going to help change the county and DNR's interpretation of this downgrade?
How is our approval of a variance?
Yeah.
I think because it is less invasive to the environment. They're not going as far down towards the lake.
It's farther away from the
They're
lake, yes.
staying away from what would be the high water mark, and
Or
it
it's
would
tall.
be a much bigger structure and more impeding on the views for the neighbors.
True.
No, I wasn't there, and that this variance definition and criteria are pretty clear to me, and I think this is, I would vote in their favor. However, I think they have a tough sell in front of the zoning and administration, county zoning administration, and I believe they are on the schedule for the 11th.
11th, okay. We do have the applicant here. Is there anything you'd like to add, as long as you're here?
Sure, if you
Randy?
don't mind.
Sure, please.
Did I do an average or adequate job in describing?
Yeah, you're pretty close for not being there. There's lots of moving parts here.
There were.
Bill. So my name is Randy Thielen from Thielen Total Construction. So the challenge here, and I understand what you're saying, Jim. This property had a home on it that was 13 and a half feet from the water. So we're allowed to build in that same footprint. Any expansion to that laterally, we have to be back to the 75 foot, which we developed plans for, and we're gonna have a finger coming forward. But in the past, several years, we knew that we could build a home out here 13 and a half feet from the water, 13 point some,
Yes.
yeah, 4 or 3 or whatever it is. And it could be 35 feet high or whatever that is. But in the ideal world, you know, we assumed when we first looked at it, we could downgrade that because the county and the state has always allowed for, all right, there's a structure there, you can step back and put a deck or a patio there instead. So downgrade the use, improve the situation from the neighbors and from people going by on the lake. So it shocked me when we went back in and we wanted to make the house smaller, is that, no, you can't do that. If you want to build there, it's got to be a house and it can't be a deck or a patio. So what we're looking for, asking for is to make it better like it's always been. So we're just trying to make the home less invasive and more attractive to the neighbors we're pushing it back from 13 feet. We're pushing it back, I think, to close to 50 feet from the water. And then we want an open deck. So something that doesn't have a roof and a structure on it. And they don't allow that either within the shore yard, within this definition. But 6 months ago, our previous, Nick Sigmund, who is the county zoning administrator, he went to a seminar at the state in March or so this year. And then, so the DNR said, all right, this is the new ruling, or this is the way you should interpret this from this point forward. That if there's a patio there, you can, in a substandard setback, you can put a patio. If there's a deck, you can replace it with a deck. If there's a home, you can replace it with a home. But there's no allowance for downgrading. So I think there's some unintended consequences here that at least from my point of view, because it just seems common sense, you should allow somebody to downgrade and make something less invasive as time goes on, because it just improves
The quality of life.
the quality of life and the appearance from the lake. But to me, it seems pretty simple. So, and the reason, and I apologize for us, you know, so when we got into that quandary, what we did is, because we didn't want to get held up, because we know the cold weather's coming. So we said, all right, we modified the plans back to what we could do, got a permit for that, so we could get things going, because the foundation really doesn't change much. And then we went back in and said, all right, we'd like to amend it for this. Then he denied it, and then we could start this process. So that was our method to the madness. Otherwise, we wouldn't be, if we would have done it in chronological order, it seems silly that we're coming for variance to do something that we can already do, or we can build something, but we want to make it less invasive. And it was done because of the timeline that we have involved here. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So,
my only concern was, I don't want you to think that because the town board has granted this variance, if you end up building this deck,
No.
that's not protection from the county saying, take it out.
no, we
Okay.
won't, when, you know, we know we're going through the process on Wednesday. They'll hear, and I'm hoping they will hear common sense and have reason and say, yeah, we agree this is better. This is the rule, but that's what the ZBA is there. So we're not going to do anything in that phase of it. We can enclose it and build a structure there, or we could just downgrade it, build a deck, or downgrade it and build a deck if they do approve the variance. So,
Common sense.
so common sense, that's
Common
what
sense.
I hope it prevails.
Again, as you know, we're advisory to the county on variances.
I
and,
understand that.
but they do look at it. So, okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, any further discussion?
Just the point again that the planning commission spoke for a half the meeting
Half an
on
hour or
this
so, yeah.
until it sank in what their dilemma was. So
I
the
watched the whole
citizen
Yeah, it was-
representatives are in favor of this, and now they're seeking the elected officials' favor. While this is advisory, frankly, I believe that when you ask somebody their advice, it demonstrates your respect for that individual's judgment. And I think I respect what they're trying to do. And again, call the question.
Okay, all right. On the motion to approve the variance petition at parcel number PWP 00005. On the motion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, thank you. Randy, I don't remember 45 years ago, you had a slow pitch baseball team, and Jensen Johnson Division of Donahue, a bunch of engineers and surveyors. I still haven't forgot how you kicked our butt every year. And you were the home run guy.
We had a lot of fun though.
Oh, yeah.
That was probably my cousin that was the home run guy.
The next item on the agenda, besides old baseball stories, it might be the easiest of the four. It is a motion. I will make a motion that the town board of East Troy approve the rezone lot line adjustment at North 7480 Bell School Road East in East Troy, Wisconsin, parcel number PET 360009A. Simply put, the owner and applicant, they wish to take a non-conforming 1.2922 acres and join it to an existing 40-acre tract of A1 property. And I think that's very straightforward.
Second,
there a
And
purpose?
the use would be for agricultural use.
second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion to approve the rezone lot line adjustment at PET 360009A? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carried.
You have seen this item, the third item before. It came as a certified survey map and lot separation. That was earlier this spring. So the planning commission has, and again, this is helping the county zoning administration in its desires for exactness and precision, but the motion would be for the town of East Troy board to approve the rezone certified survey map at North 9033 Army Lake Road and North 9025 Army Lake Road in East Troy, Wisconsin, parcel numbers PA 260400003, PA 260400003, and PA 322500003.
Do we know if that's intentional that the first two numbers are the same?
Up at the
Yeah,
top, she
Whenever
has-
you do a CSM, they give them a starting number and that's why they're the same. So if you have like the field across the street that we just did, the first four are the same and then you have 1, 2, 3, lots 1, 2, 3.
Okay, thank you.
So in the April, May, the town board and planning commission approved the land separation and certified survey map, but the county zoning administration, upon painstaking reevaluating those documents, are now asking for a rezone of lot 1 to become C3, lot 3 to become C2, lot 4 to become R1, and the wetlands to become C1. And the planning commission, in deliberating those requests and saw no reason to not cooperate and make that recommendation or those recommendations to the county zoning administration.
All right, I didn't hear a motion.
He made the motion as he was reading it, right?
Okay.
Second.
And Barb second. Okay. Let's further discussion here. Is there anybody else have any comments on this rezone? Do you have anything? Nobody else? All right, on the motion to approve that petition to rezone CSM, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
The fourth item occurred at our September 20th meeting. And I will make a motion at the bequest of the Planning Commission that the Town Board of East Troy approve a rezone wetland delineation at North 8684 Stringers Bridge East Road, East Troy, Wisconsin, parcel number PET 1800019. In essence, the applicant, Ann and Stephen Russo, have, they had the Southeastern Wisconsin Regional Planning Commission survey the property and made a wetland delineation, demarcation, and realignment to better separate what is C4 from existing A3. And the purpose of this motion and action is to acknowledge and agree with that delineation.
Second.
All right, we have motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, on the motion to approve the rezone wetland delineation at PET 1800019. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Okay. Unfinished business update on East Troy Road Museum Bridge on Beach Road. I had a long discussion this morning with Core Engineering. They're the firm we hired a month ago to do the bridge rehab report, and they were held up for almost a month because they needed some answers from the DOT, and they did get them last week. But the bridge there, after looking, and the Core also did the bridge inspection, that, you know, they're going to downgrade that substructure to a 3, you know, out of a 10 because of the piling, basically rotting away. That would take the sufficiency rating from the currently 61 down to 49. So it looks like a replacement. And that currently, that is in the process of getting completed then, because now they know what they have to do. The sales agreement is signed, so we are now proud owners of a bridge
Well, technically,
until it's
Kit
recorded.
needs to cut a check for $1.
Can I
So there's a
give him
paper
$1?
trail that the consideration was given.
Okay, so that could be handed over tomorrow, correct? Or whatever you see.
Well, it can't really come from a check from my,
No, what I'm saying is you will meet,
I have a doubt.
hopefully,
I know.
with the president.
Sure we can all.
right.
Okay,
I don't want to be a personal owner.
the grant application is in process, so probably at one of our special meetings coming up here, we're gonna have, probably a contract to, sign. As soon as I get it, I'll let Kim know that we can post that. And all told, I think finally we're to a point, we had a catch-22 for quite a while here because the state didn't really want to talk about that bridge because it was a private bridge. It was a private ownership. And now it's public ownership, so they are now providing answers, questions, and cooperation. So I did let everybody know, including the county and the state and Core Engineering and Lynch Engineering, where we're at on this. So hopefully real soon here, we can get a grant application proposal turning into a contract for a deadline that's this month, the 27th. So that's the whole plan. And we had some setbacks in there with people out of town from the railroad, and then some delays from the state to answer some of these questions. One of the other questions that was answered, by the way, was whether or not the state of Wisconsin had to sign this, and they do not. They did look at the contract and agreement and said, no, we don't have to. I guess that's the
Right.
bottom line.
So that created a little bit of delay too, because we had to revise the agreement.
Agreement to get rid of that. So, and I believe the last good version I already signed, or do I have to come again? We're good.
No, you're good.
I'm good. So that's where we're at on that.
Is the town gonna get a copy of that agreement?
When Ward comes in and re-signs his page,
So it can be recorded. And then the recorded document we'll have in our files. We all,
And then the town will get a copy
yes.
for our records,
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
After you write the check
for a buck.
and the paper trail.
$1.
For a buck.
Can we just take a picture?
Yes. Okay, approved rustic road
I have a
application.
question. I just have a question on that, the bridge. So to fast track this, because obviously we're down to the wire with this application, have we talked with the gentleman at the county that does a lot of this, or is he helping, or?
He was copying all this, and he had the same concerns when I discussed this with him at the town association meeting. He says, really, until we own it,
Right.
that's the thing.
But
So that was one of the roadblocks. But yes, he is definitely,
on board to
On
help us
board.
fast track this, because I heard he's really, really good at that kind of stuff.
He is.
And he would be a great help to get this done by our.
And the
date, if
agreement
that's
does
possible.
state in it that the effective date of the transfer was September 28th, if that helps. I mean, it doesn't help with the deadline to apply,
Right,
Right.
but-
but in terms of showing ownership,
sure. I
And
was
we
just-
already have the application or the contract signed for the writing of the grant?
no, that has to be approved yet. The holdup there was, we needed to know whether it was gonna be the bridge rehab report was gonna suggest, or not suggest, but recommend a replacement or a rehab. And, that had to be attached to the application. So, and Tim Lynch knows all about this because he's been in the loop on this. So everybody's copied, knows what has to be done. So I'll make a follow-up call tomorrow, probably the same 5 people I talked to today, make sure everybody is on the same page.
Yeah, especially just because of this our
Right.
tight deadline. I mean,
how long is it
whatever
gonna
help we
take you to
can
get a
for
copy
sure.
of that report with a 49 sufficiency rating?
Like I said, the guy, Eric Price is doing that. He's gonna tag off to Bill Hovey because Eric is going hunting out in Colorado. So that was a discussion this morning, and I says that, that needs to be done right now, and he says they would do it. Because again, we signed a contract on that a month ago. So that, again, is one of my calls to make sure that there's no holdup with that. There shouldn't be. Okay, because it's not a huge application, or not a huge report. It's based on the bridge inspection report, which they also did. Okay, because they did all of them in the county, and that, including Beulah Heights and Stringer's Bridge and this one. It's just that they did this one a couple weeks ago, where they did the other ones a couple months ago. They were gonna do it all at the same time, but they gave us the price for that, so we were good anyway.
I guess the question seems to be, there are so many pieces that need to be put together before the end of the month.
Correct.
Is there still a possibility that we're gonna make that deadline?
Then not make it, you mean? Not make it?
No, that-
Oh, that'd be
Are we
really-
going to make?
Yeah.
that deadline?
Yeah, I would say
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we have to have a contract with someone to write the application, right?
Lynch, yes.
And so do we have a meeting identified where we're gonna have a draft?
My phone call tomorrow, we'll find out that, and I'll look at our schedule. It'll be one of our upcoming meetings.
Maybe after our budget workshop. on
We
the
can add it to our
17th.
budget meeting? Yeah, that means
Yeah,
Next
Right.
Tuesday.
that's the 17th.
That's the 17th.
It
That's,
gives them
I
10
know.
days to write it and submit it. Ooh.
it might be written
Won't
already.
be there.
Probably is written already.
I won't be at.
No, I was just asking this, whatever, all hands on deck, because this is a ginormous
Yeah, the
ordeal.
difference
Because
here
this
is,
year with our funding, with the amount of funding we could get, it
Yeah.
has to happen this
yes,
year.
it's
or we're
the
in big
100% versus the 80
Right.
or 90. Actually, all 3 are options, but we want the 100. So, Okay, let's move on here.
Jim, you'll be available to write the contract with Lynch?
Is this another
Approve it.
similar to the inspection report?
Yeah, this is important enough. I
Yeah,
can
you don't
make
usually
time.
join our budget workshops, right?
I'm normally not at them.
No.
So,
No, we don't need them.
see if you're
Tomorrow.
available for.
I can, and if they're going to put something together, I can review it and say, go ahead and approve it without me being there.
He did the one for East Shore. And he did the one for the trail the second time. So he's familiar with what has to happen there. This is gonna be very similar to the one he did for East Shore. We didn't get that one.
No.
But he has a very good track record, so. All right, let's move. Approve rustic road application. And I know there was a couple versions floating around. I seen one with some blue ink and I seen some with some red ink. The one that's in the packet appears to be the final one, or is there one that's beyond that?
So the only edit to the one in the packet, so yeah, it is actually the blue copy, but in the packet, it's not colored.
Okay.
But on the rustic road application, after the description, the historical nature and rustic features, zoning restrictions in effect has been edited. Kim has the updated copy that says agricultural and rural residential is the zoning there. I did get a notice today from the state that reviews and approves these. And they said if we can get this application submitted tomorrow, it will be reviewed this year rather than waiting until next year.
Okay.
So that's the only change here. And then Kim and I talked about removing the petition regarding the speed limit because that's separate. That doesn't really
Yes.
belong in this application. Barb had some suggestions to maybe add some more details on the description and some of the pictures. But when I email the application tomorrow, I could say, if there's additional verbiage about the rustic road, if that could be sent by the end of the week or something like that. But other than the zoning, everything should be in the packet and the state is expecting an email from you tomorrow.
And we can sign
And
this
sign
tonight.
tonight.
Yep.
So you
and
need
I
a
have
mo,
good
you need a
copy
motion to
already
approve this?
for-
We need a motion.
Yeah, so
I'll make a
I-
motion to approve it.
Second,
All right, motion to approve the rustic road application. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed? None. Motion carries.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. A lot of work. All
Very
right,
nice, very
trail resolution, trail between the village of East Troy through the town to the village of McWanago, and Jim pointed out a couple things. Again, we're no longer the lead agency on this. I was on that until, me and Mary stopped doing it a couple of years back. So the village is the lead agency on it now. And the problem there is I don't get to see a lot of this stuff. It kind of happens. And Jim found the thing here. First of all, the memorandum of understanding, we already did one of these 2 years ago, signed by the 3 municipalities. This one updates with the latest information, including the last grant application information, with all the pictures and cost estimate. And then also basically taking out the two counties that will help us, but not monetarily. So the only problem we seen in there was that they don't even, there's in the signatories, there's, the village president and the village of East Troy president, McWanago and East Troy, and me, but yet in the verbiage in here, it doesn't even mention the town in the
No, it's in the narrative section.
number 2.
So that's not part of the memorandum of understanding, but I think that if they're submitting this to someone,
This is already.
the village narrative is wrong because it doesn't reference the town of East Troy. It references 5 municipalities, names 3, including the town of Mukwonago, that's not even part of this.
No. So that's the part of the application that already has been sent in. The new one obviously is gonna be right. The memorandum of understanding is just saying that the two villages in town agree to split the cost on trying to get this thing, to the next step. And we've been told the next step is to write a planning grant application. And then when it comes time to build it, to break it up into $1 million or so dollar chunks. So the village signed it October 2nd. I can get authorized to sign this tonight, and I would give them a reminder about, first of all, I would probably edit their next application because I wasn't really given the opportunity to do it.
Well, the only question I had is on the memorandum of understanding, if you, 2, 3, the third full paragraph down says it's conditioned upon obtaining funding. Well, how much funding? Where's the funding coming from?
Mhm.
But that paragraph also says nothing in this MOU is binding.
That's true.
Great. It's an MOU basically saying that the 3 municipalities agree to split the cost to go to the next step, which is basically submit a planning grant. Anything that goes on beyond that, we're gonna probably revise this again. The reason we did this is because the one we had it was 2 years ago, and another application was submitted, and there's also a lead agency now, which is the village of East Troy is the lead agency. And before we were kind of agencies on it. So
I'm okay with it because there's another condition that it's conditioned upon us signing a multi-jurisdictional agreement.
right, and that would come to a point when after the planning study is done and it says it's a viable project and here's the cost, that's when the trigger would have to be pulled by also the railroad signing the permissive use agreement, the 99-year lease or whatever for the railroad right away, where the majority of this is being built. So
what's the cost to get to the point to know what the cost is?
the approval, I told you we approved Strand a couple weeks ago. To write the trail grant application is $8,000, split 3 ways. So the town's cost on this, for this MOU is basically $2,666.67.
When who approved that?
The village did.
Oh, so
They're the lead agency.
So they approved that all of us would split the cost.
Well, we already had a MOU in effect that said we would already
From a few years ago?
2 years ago. Yeah. Yeah. So this MOU is basically updates the one, that was done February of 2020. That's the first line in here. So,
Just crazy. I'm only asking questions because I've heard of this like one time, and I thought it was when I first got on, which was a while ago, but I've never heard anything else. So when it comes out and then we're splitting costs and
2016 area is when we first started this with the East Troy Community Foundation.
Well, and I guess the other question is,
because
how
I
much,
would have went to that meeting.
yeah, how much
I mean,
public
if they're
awareness?
talking about it to learn.
Yeah, how much public awareness and interest is there? I mean, it's, yeah.
How much interest is there?
Yeah,
A lot. I mean,
how come,
the White Federation's really behind this.
Road of the Badger, DNR.
I'm asking the question
communities.
because I don't know. It's not
I
a
haven't
question that
heard
we're
it
trying to make
publicly
anything bad, but I have just
discussed?
never
Right.
heard of it. I'm not.
I think
Neither.
the last 2
It was
years,
discussed
not too much.
frequently before you guys were on the board, I think, because
16
the recreational trail was discussed at board meetings
over.
almost every month, it seemed like for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's a question that we're asking because I don't know.
But what you have now here is a very good synopsis because it's got, it actually shows what's going to be done and how much it's going to cost and how we got to that point.
Yeah, the
Again-
cost is everything.
Yeah, the original MOU we signed that we're working under is 2020. This would replace it. This is the next step to get a planning grant to get the planning work done by strand, and then they'll tell us, again, that's another step. We say, okay, here's where we're at. Here's how it can be done. And here's the cost. Now, is everybody still in? Okay. And I got no reason to believe that either the villages will pull back, but I did tell you of one condition that the village of East Troy said that if the railroad would require a fence on this whole project, they are not going to support it. And we heard that from them several times. Okay. And I would probably be in that same wavelength, because spend $1 million on a fence would be really a waste of money.
Well, and the municipalities have to maintain the portions on their property. We have to have
We have a lot.
greater than 50%
Yeah,
of
we
this
have a lot.
entire length.
That was gonna be another question, is what is it to maintain it? Is it gonna, it's gonna be asphalt? Is it gonna be,
It's
You know,
10-foot asphalt with 2-foot gravel shoulders,
you know, I mean,
some
that's,
signs.
And
Yep.
the railroad said no fence. They don't want that interfering with their
No, they want,
vibe. They
Oh.
don't want a fence because they don't want people looking at that when they're on the trolley.
oh, yeah,
Exactly.
well,
Oh.
That's what I remember hearing.
so we're at,
There's not a safety
Why
issue?
wouldn't it be everybody's?
no,
they were,
Why do you have to maintain your town portion?
it's the underlying portion. So the village of Quantigos, whatever's on theirs, they have it, whatever the
All
village.
divided by 3, period.
Well, that'd be a administrative nightmare.
to
And they can't technically go on, you know, our portion of it. I mean, as far as working on it. It's kind of like roads. You maintain what's in your jurisdiction. So, but yeah, is there a lot of questions yet? I do
Sure.
think the planning thing will do it. Will help out with this. But
Well, another question
that's
is,
a lot of money.
if you're paying, $7,500 or better to apply for a grant that would allow for whatever's needed for the application, if the grant is denied, how much are we gonna have to pay in addition to that to get this application drawn up?
no, that is the application. Once you get, if you're approved, then you would you'd have a separate contract that the state would have to approve based on this application. In other words, the application is gonna say, we will give you $30,000 to study this
I
7
see,
mile project.
okay.
And
That's
that's
not an application to prepare,
To build it.
no,
okay.
It's just to get,
It's just to get-
to see where you would be at. Is that what you're
it's
saying?
basically a planning study to say, here is
Okay.
exactly what you're gonna do. So,
So this is a ballpark on this number on this second or third.
yeah, that was the estimate done for the last submission.
The last one is $3,223,500
Yeah,
$53.
yeah. And if you look at the 20%.
divided by 3.
That would be 333,000, and this is inflated to try to hope, you know, be the right number. So that would be a potential cost for the 7 mile trail to the town of East Troy would be.
Aren't these 2020 figures?
No, what the-
2023, it says at the top.
Yeah, 2023, March.
that's when it was probable costs,
Okay.
and what they're required to do, look in the middle, inflation adjustment at 7% per year. Just below the boxes there's the adjustment. So they have,
By 2026, it would be 30.
yes, so
Almost
that
4
is
million.
actually
$948.
$2026. Yes.
But there's still
We're
engineering
one way from
underneath
that.
that too.
I don't know how in the world a 7 mile asphalt path can cost $4 million.
Because you gotta put the whole base in, you gotta bring it in, the
What?
cost of everything's insane. And then-
clear it.
And then the upkeep's gonna be
A
expensive.
lot of tree removal. And then again, if you take federal money, you have to follow the federal standard for planning, design and construction. All those you have to follow federal. That's one of the reasons why. But without that 80% funding, this is not a viable project unless somebody wins the lottery around here.
Tonight.
And there goes the library and there goes the trail and there was one other thing. I forget what it was. Yeah. So anyway, that's where we're at. So I'll be looking for a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding was
I
one
make a
thing.
motion that we authorize Chairman Clarkowski to sign the memorandum of understanding with the, in regards to the Village of East Troy TAP application, East Troy to McWanago multi-use path.
Second.
We have motion second. Further discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, none, motion carries. Okay, new business. Request from resident to accept Bannon Lane as a town road. I had a couple discussions with Mr. Harmon on this. And I told him that at least, I think it was 15 years ago, could have been more, there was a request to do just that. And now he's got another reason to do it because, there's another user on that road. There's actually 5 users on that road. But Dan knew that, but I says 2 things. One, and Todd Shield went and looked at it. The road is pretty alligatored up, which means it has to be repaved. And when you get towards the west end of it, the trees kind of close in so that there have to be a lot of the right of way cleared in there, which of course is really needed for fire and rescue and police also. So the question, and we do have a petition signed by all the people that use that, which is now a driveway. And the question is do we want to proceed with it? And then how would we? Because if we do, eventually we need a public hearing on this. But we would not act on this until those improvements will be made. We do not accept a town road if it does not meet the town road standards. So it would have to be repaved and brush cleared. So if we have a commitment, and we could make our approval conditional on that, those improvements being done by the property owners, or we could just say not interested. Okay.
I think rather than doing a conditional approval, you should deny it and tell them, once you do this, re-petition.
Yeah, but we can still, we
Is this a
can still say we don't
driveway?
want it.
It's a
Or is it a
driveway.
road?
Yeah.
I think that makes the big
It's
difference.
it's a private road in the sense that it was built to serve 4 lots, now 5.
But it's a driveway.
And it's really, yeah. And if you remember years back, we did a special sign up there, hidden driveway, to make sure people knew on where the hill is on Division Street where it comes out. So that commitment would have to be done. And I believe it's like down a tenth of a mile, I believe.
With all of our research on plowing private roads, does the state language allow the municipality to plow private driveways?
No, it does not.
No. And this is listed as a perpetual easement for ingress and egress over this part of lot 3. So by definition, it's a private road. That's what it is.
And I asked
But the
Scott,
sign
and
says
we
hidden
don't plow it now.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
no, right, we don't, yeah.
No.
But the sign says hidden driveway.
Says private driveway, private road at the end of the road. I remember they did not like you riding your bike on there when they were a kid either. Note to self.
Well, that was done in.
Now they want to give it up.
Yeah, 91 is when that CSM was created. And at that time, it served 4 lots. And now at the end, there's one more that's been added. And he included that second survey in there in the handout. It's the one that's access off St. Peter's Road. And that one there's a temporary easement for access and egress to lot 1. Well, lot 1 is now served by this. So that indeed there would now then be a driveway because it's only one person. But that's going north to St. Peter's. That's not this east-west one. On the road. So what I'm hearing is the recommendation is to deny it. And they could be informed that after they go ahead and bring it up to town road standards to re-request that. That's all right.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't mean we're going to, so
No.
do you want to give them false
Well-
hope? False hope is off the top of my head, and honestly, how does this, what advantage of this,
How
does
does
this
this
do for our
benefit-
How does this
community
benefit
and
the
like
town?
people for us to take it on? It sounds like more maintenance, more, it was built as a private road.
Yep. It was built as a
They-
private road.
Everybody that purchased on there knows it's a private road.
And
what does it,
restrictive
what does
covenants
it do
mention
for our
it that way.
community to take it on? Short of helping them with plowing, because it costs money to do, and then they don't have to repave or they don't,
It could be.
all those actions,
Yeah,
so.
yeah. The advantage would be definitely in their court because then when they would sell these lots, they could say they're on a public road.
Mhm.
That, and then again, the expense to repair this is theirs and it always will be theirs. We can't take it over and fix it.
Right.
Okay.
Nor do
can't
we
do
really
that.
want to.
Nor do we want to. So you're right. There's two parts of the question. One, do we even want to do this even in the future? Okay. Or deny it, period. I mean, to me, it's got the same result here. The only question would be is whether or not I would be directed or Todd would be directed to tell him, you go ahead and get town road standards and then try again. But that would be a false hope if we have no intention of doing it.
Right, that's,
Do we need any more roads? Well, a lot of the roads we were looking at, they had very narrow right of ways, which is a problem. Okay. This one is 150 feet wide. It starts at 152 feet wide and ends up at 130. So the question here is not the right of way being a problem. The question is the condition of the road and the foliage. That's the problem. So do we need more roads? No. This is a quarter mile. And our age right now, we're at 3,500, Kim, per mile.
Well, just because they're asking us to plow it, doesn't mean we're gonna make it a public
They're
road.
not asking if
they're not
they're
asking
They're
us to
asking.
follow.
They're asking me to make this a public road.
To make it. a-
But if we make it a public road, then we would plow it.
Correct. So the
Oh, we know that.
GTA now is 2734. So that would be, that's like $660 a year in state aid is all we get for this. It's probably a losing proposition that way if you look at plowing, maintenance, tree trimming and whatever. It's very similar to other ones we approved in the past, but this is a different board than the past too. So really it comes down to what do we want to do as a town board?
I just look at it as what advantage is it for the community and the taxpayers? And I feel bad. I mean,
To the town, very
you
little.
want to allow everything, but
Wolfway,
Wolf.
Well, yeah, Wolfway and Troy Hill Estate, but those are subdivisions, the CSMs that
Already at.
had to have public
standard.
dedication of roads.
Okay.
Yeah. I can't remember the last one.
Not in the 19 years I've been.
I don't
here.
remember that either, and I've been here just about as long.
Yeah,
I don't think so. Now subdivision or CSM that
yeah.
has to have public access.
But
That's-
they have roads that are already at the correct standard.
Well, yeah, because it's
Right.
built to the standard. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So,
Upon creation
Correct.
of the road.
right,
And
right.
this
So
road
that's a
was
good
not
point. The question
Transferring it
is,
as a private
Yes.
to a public.
what advantage is it to the town? You'd have to search pretty far to find an advantage to the town. I don't see any. I don't see any at all.
well, in the gentleman's cover letter to us, he's welcoming any and all opportunity to meet with us, our representatives, and
Yep.
provide any information needed to inform the process. Bob, Mr. Rice might be a great guy to talk to in terms of upgrading a road, costs.
Mhm.
If they really want to spend the money to prepare a road that is satisfactory and acceptable to us, we should plan in some of those directions.
Okay, that's a possibility. And again, what would our cost be? Okay, we just mentioned what the state aid would be, $660 on the state part, okay? But in general, 53 miles of roads, we maintain them all. Is that an advantage to us? Not really. It is an advantage to the 5 people that use this road, all right? We could let them know that. I mean, he certainly could try it again, but I feel a little bit like Chad does here. We give him a false hope by saying, go ahead and do this. And then he comes back here 2 years later and the board says no. So he in effect is doing what he probably should do anyway. The road is falling apart and the trees are growing in. Fix your road. So,
if they don't have to, if they don't want to, because it's theirs.
because it's
Right.
there, well, eventually the fire department or police department
True.
will say, hey, at
If
the
it
end of
gets
this,
that
by this
bad.
cul-de-sac, before you get there, the brush pinches right into the edge of the asphalt. And
That's true.
you know, so All right,
I guess if they're willing to meet with us, they could have had a representative here tonight.
well, it was on the agenda.
Well, and this is all, I mean, just discussion too. This is all on
Yeah.
video to refer to.
Yeah. We do know that, Dan and Betty did talk to all of their neighbors there because they did prepare this and they did all sign it. But again, what advantage, how does this help the town as a whole? It doesn't.
Well, it helps many town residents that live on this.
Well, it helps the 5
Yeah.
houses, yeah.
The five, well, it's,
9 people.
9
9
people.
people.
Yeah,
9
That's it.
votes, you're in or out in this board.
I hear
You
you.
know, you
We
just
don't
can't.
care about 9 votes.
I don't know if
I
that's
don't
how
care
it
about
should be
votes.
evaluated.
I care
Not
about
about votes,
what it's
about
gonna cost the
fiscal
community is what I care about.
Yeah.
They're,
Again, yeah,
Chad, they're town residents.
Yeah.
And they're asking a consideration.
Right,
But
and
you
this has
have-
been a private road since 1991. Everybody that's purchased a home on that private road is known it is. There, and I feel it's great for them to ask, but of course we have to weigh out our options. And if it's not really being fiscally responsible, I don't know
To
what
the
the advantages is,
4,011
unfortunately
other
for the,
residents.
9 people, but
Well, they are residents.
correct.
all right, we need a motion. Somebody do
I
it.
make a motion to deny the request to accept Dannon Lane as a town road.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion or questions? Hearing none on the motion to deny, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. All right, annexation petition for parcels PET 2000003B and PET 2000003A. These are the 2 lots, the old Bass Melon patch used to be years back. It's across the street from Quick Trip, and it's wedged between Quick Trip and the cemetery, which is still in the town of East Troy. The petition, by law, I believe, the town has no way to object to this, no legal standing
Not with a unanimous request for a petition.
So there's nothing we have to sign either. So I guess this is more of a point of, I guess you would call it informational to the board. You would not have a boundary agreement with the village of East Troy, and even if we did, this would have likely been in the detached area because it is contiguous to the village on 2 sides. So you see all the paperwork here. The owners, there was 2 owners, Gooden and,
They're both owned by Gooden,
okay, I see
but
2
they
names.
have
Yeah, it's in
tenants.
They have 2 tenants in there,
Tenants, yeah.
okay. But I thought I seen 2 names on
I
the
think there
petition.
was like
Yep.
an Anderson, right?
Cowlett, no,
Yeah, the second page.
those are the tenants. So the property owner signatures are Gooden and Anderson.
Yeah, there was an Anderson.
Steve Anderson. So,
Real estate.
I guess there's no action to be taken, is that correct?
So, because I don't know, and I'm not afraid to ask, but what do you mean, it's a unanimous what? You said,
Petition to annex.
The owner,
So if the landowners, and usually it's adjacent to a city or village, if they petitioned that city or village to be annexed by the village to come into their jurisdiction, if it's unanimous with all of the landowners signing that petition, towns are no longer able to file lawsuits to challenge those.
so we have no legal standing to do anything about it.
We can negotiate
I-
for them to take the cemetery as
I
well.
was gonna say, is that a bargaining
I
tool?
asked the
I don't
question,
think the cemetery would want to go, but it's interesting if you look at the plat map. the cemetery, they own that field behind
Correct.
both of
Right.
those parcels for expansion of the cemetery.
That
So
whole
it'd be
strip.
really interesting if they put the Starbucks there, how they're gonna keep people out of the cemetery.
Fence. Dying for a couple.
But that will be a village issue.
What do you mean?
The cemetery is right up behind those properties.
Well, it's around it.
Understood, but why would people going to Starbucks go into the cemetery?
People tore down lights in the park. You never know. You never know.
Okay, so the actual questionnaire that was required of you, that has been submitted. There's no other action that has to be taken.
No, but once the village, we have to follow up and make sure that the village ordinance for annexation includes the 5 years of property tax payments
And
to
that-
us.
That was part of the question.
And is there a requirement for them to respond back to you with that same,
Now, the questionnaire gets filed with the state,
okay?
and then the village has to file their portion with the state.
So,
And the village has paid us in the past.
Okay.
I mean, they've never been against paying us for what they owe us for an annexation, so.
okay, so do you need me to? go-
Well, I think the state will probably follow up with the village
Okay.
and say, here's what the property taxes have been for the property that's being annexed. Make sure that your annexation ordinance includes 5 years worth of payments to the town in X amount of dollars.
Yeah, which
And
is
that's
the
all
amount I
included
figured
in
out.
here.
Yeah, I figured that out. So,
Okay, all right, so we should be good, correct? All right, move on. Request for donation from Amelia's Anglers. We have a representative here who'd like to speak. Haven't seen you for a couple of years.
Yeah.
You're looking well.
I think all the drama with the diseases are over. We can finally start doing fundraisers again. So my name is Scott Getch. I live on Beach Road here, right here in East Troy. And I am a member of Amelia's Anglers for a long time. I still do tournaments as an old man, but being that we're going to start doing a fundraiser again, in the past years I've gotten support for a boat pass for Lake Beulah, an annual one. And along with that, I buy a package from the Woodland Spa, and that's my donation to the club. So our club does quite a bit for the state of Wisconsin. We support youth anglers for BASS. I do take-a-vet fishing in Madison. So I'm asking for your support again this year, to support our fundraiser for the pass, if that's possible.
Annual pass to Lake Beulah
For the launch?
for the launch.
Yes.
I'll make a
Which is-
motion that we donate a boat launch pass to Amelia's Anglers.
I'll second
All right, we
for
have a
discussion.
motion, second discussion.
We can do that?
Well, we've had this discussion many times over the years, and there's two parts to this. One of them, what is the real value? Well, there's a value if somebody has to buy one. And then we had the secondary situation where we said, if we look at years past, the annual meeting was a time when we had, we're gonna have discussion tomorrow on that too, donations to the library, to the Lions Club. This is very similar to that. And we have done this 3-4 times,
Yes.
thereabouts. And we always ask Jim for his advice on this, and this is one that is a little bit different than most, because it's got a value, but does it have a cost to us? I always had, my look at it, said, what does it cost us? Nothing. It's helpful to you, but it costs us nothing. Now,
Lost revenue, right?
no,
Lost
because
revenue.
we had over 25, 30 that we threw away this year. We never know how many will sell.
Oh, as far as the
It's-
actual
I
paper.
mean, the actual cost of the sticker, maybe $1, maybe.
I'll write a check for it.
Yeah.
I'll do
And,
it.
and don't, and,
For a dollar.
and I seconded it just for discussion, because that was just my not that I'm totally for this, and I appreciate it
Yeah.
greatly, but.
So did you have a similar, I mean, we you know.
Yeah.
My opinion's always the same, I think if he offers to pay the dollar for the sticker, that makes it a little different.
Okay. All right. All right. Any other discussion? All right, on motion to approve that donation to Amelia Zangos. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Keep up the good work. It's very well done.
Thanks for taking the vets fishing.
All right, authorize Attorney Mills to
No,
draft,
we have one more. Right?
Yeah.
authorize Attorney
Oh,
Mills
sorry,
to draft,
I was one ahead.
draft resolution for the 2024 garbage and snowplow.
I'll make a motion to authorize Attorney Mills to draft a resolution for the 2024 garbage and snow plowing charges.
Second.
We have motion second. Any discussion?
Yeah, the increase, I'm assuming that, I think in the contract, obviously it's the limit of what they can increase it every year. Because did we do like a 3-year agreement?
We'll talk about that tomorrow. We have numbers from them already, from John's disposal.
Yeah, they sent,
Yeah,
in one of our packets, they sent the
Yeah.
increase.
It was
Yep.
no more than a certain amount. I
Yeah.
think, over
Yeah, it was 3 to 5% or something.
Right, so
And that is allowed in our current contract,
that's what we,
like CPI or whatever.
yes. Other questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. Thanksgiving Wednesday office closure.
I'll make a motion to give everybody off on Thanksgiving Wednesday, because the staff is going to use vacation or comp time.
Okay,
I'll second.
we have a second by Michelle. Discussion,
Where is this coming from?
request from the
Is
office.
staff, everybody?
it's the three
To
of us.
close the office, right.
And I'm always off that day because it's Pi Day. So
Whoa, what's that all about?
apple, pecan, and
Oh.
and pumpkin, numerous, homemade from scratch all the way. Anyway, but other people do family and things, so.
And also,
And it's a quiet day because
Right,
people
it's
are
minimal
traveling,
activity.
people are already gone. The phone hardly rings.
if we close the office, we really should have it as right here, a board
Yeah.
decision discussion.
And we can post it, or, I mean, we can
And
start
we-
putting it on the calendar now, right?
And just like we post the Friday after Thanksgiving, we would just include the Wednesday before.
Right.
So,
Okay,
So it's administrative office staff, that's.
yeah, and more than likely the DPW will be out. The only people will be here are our friendly officers.
You guys never get to have off.
he never goes home. Yeah. All right, so any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carries.
Thank you.
All right, attorney's report, Attorney Mills.
Yes, I have one item. It's resolution 2023-8. It's titled Resolution of the Town Board of the Town of East Troy authorizing participation in the preparation of a cooperative boundary plan pursuant to State Statute Section 66.0307. It reads, the Town Board of the Town of East Troy, Walworth County, Wisconsin, does hereby resolve as follows. Whereas Section 66.0307 Wisconsin Stats allows participating municipalities to enter into cooperative boundary plans. And whereas the towns of Dover, Waterford, Norway, East Troy, and the village of Rochester, the participating municipalities, have each expressed interest in pursuing a cooperative boundary plan. Now therefore be it resolved by the Town Board of the Town of East Troy as follows. One, that the Town of East Troy shall proceed pursuant to State Statute Section 66.0307 to participate in the preparation of a cooperative boundary plan with the participating municipalities. Two, that this resolution is contingent on each one or more of the other participating municipalities passing a similar resolution to proceed accordingly. Three, that the participating parties are in agreement to begin the process with the understanding that commencement of the process does not bind any participating party to enter into a cooperative boundary agreement or bind any municipality to accept terms or conditions that such participating municipality does not believe to be in its municipality's best interests. Four, that in the event of a similar In the event a similar resolution is passed by each of the participating municipalities, notice of this resolution shall then be given in writing to various authorities within 5 days after the resolution is adopted to the various authorities set pursuant to State Statute Section 66.0307 sub 4 sub A, and a joint public meeting hearing shall be held no earlier than 60 days after adoption of the last resolution by a participating municipality pursuant to state statute 66.0307 sub 4 sub B, dated this 9th day of October.
Okay, just point of information on this, what this really gonna involve is just more meetings for me. It is very helpful to, when we do have extraterritorial plat review coming into the corner of our town already. It's already in there. I don't know which map it shows it on, but the far southeast corner, we already have that plat review authority in there. So we still have that. There'll be more meetings. All the other municipalities, as far as I know, have or will sign this. I think it's a very good thing to do. And it'll be helpful for us, especially on our eastern border.
Is this to make it less likely for the village of Waterford to annex into our location?
Yes, absolutely. Especially since the statute changed several years ago where annexations are now allowed across county lines. They were banned from doing that previously. That's no longer the case. So this will also be helpful for that.
But if it's if
They could have-
if everybody signs it as far as landowners, then we don't have a choice, just like the village, right?
No, that'll be, it would be similar to McWanago.
Oh, it
So
goes
town
that
to
far.
town, you can
We'd have to approve it.
Gotcha.
dispute it, but a village is bigger than a town.
Right, but if it's in the agreement, that way you'd need unanimous approval by all governing bodies.
Okay.
In other words, if it's.
So it makes it stronger, so that situation doesn't happen, is why we're doing.
That's the main reason.
And I believe the law did allow you to cross county lines if you met a certain threshold of the number of votes you received. When McWanago wanted to annex down 83 over the county line, the town of Waterford was able to block it because the number of votes from the village board didn't meet that threshold. That's how that annexation got stopped where it did.
Motion to approve resolution 2023-8, resolution of the town board of the town of East Troy authorizing participation in and preparation of cooperative boundary plan pursuant to state statute 66.0307.
Second.
I think Chad got the second. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None, motion carries. I'll sign this right now.
That's all I have.
And I think this will go to Waterford, so they have a copy of it.
I have to send it to everybody, actually.
Mhm.
I believe you're right, they'll need to be notified.
Yep.
Send to everybody. Okay. Where are we?
I got one special
Oh, I will
event.
add, sorry, I met with Lieutenant and Chief on Friday to go over the town code regarding code provisions that need updating. So I have a list to go after. There's about, what were there, 7 or 8 maybe? So that'll show up on future agendas.
Okay. All right, licenses and special event permits.
We have one special events permit for a wedding, and it's next September 14th in 2024 at the Lakeville Yacht Club.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Bill, second by Chad. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? None. Motion carries. Special and pending meetings.
Tomorrow at 4:30 is our first budget workshop. October 17th, there was a time change for the budget workshop till 5 o'clock.
Oh, I gotta change that. 17th is not 5 PM?
5 o'clock PM. Yep. October 18th at 6:30 is Booth Lake Memorial Park Board. October 24th from 6 to 8 is Border Review. October 27th, it must be posted and then it'll go into the paper the following 2 weeks after that. November 1st and 15th are Planning Commission. November 13th is the public budget hearing and the meeting of the electors prior to the regular town board meeting, which will be at 6:30 that same date. November 18th is the next Booth Lake Memorial Park Board, and then the town hall will be closed the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th.
What is it?
All right.
I'm sorry.
I will likely be
13th, November 13th.
late tomorrow. I've had something come up.
I'm sorry?
I will likely be late tomorrow. I've had a work meeting come up from 4 to 5.
Okay.
I will come as soon as I can.
Okay.
Do you have materials tonight that I should take with me? Okay.
I could email it to you tomorrow, once I get it done.
Yeah, I don't know how much I'll be able to.
I'll make a
get.
motion. I make a motion to adjourn.
All right, we have motion to adjourn. We have second.
Second.
Barb, second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
seconded.
Yep.
Bill and then Barb seconded.
All right, on the motion to adjourn, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carries. All right, we're gonna review bills for payment.
Oh, Chad motion to adjourn, and who was the second?
No,
Barb. Okay, thank you.